Good day, everyone. My name is Babatunde James Falaye. I'm a lecturer and researcher at the Department of Physics, Federal University of Lafayette. I am also the editor-in-chief of Journal of Nigerian Society of Physical Sciences. My research interest is in theoretical physics. Primarily, I work on diverse areas of quantum information, quantum computation, and generally on quantum physics. I also did a lot of collaborative work on nuclear physics and astrophysics. However, the seminar I'm about to give today has nothing to do with theoretical physics. Instead, it's something that will be of benefit to everyone, irrespective of your research area. I have combined my experience as an author who has published several research articles in journals indexed in Scopus and Web of Science. Secondly, as editor or editor-in-chief, who has presided over thousands of research publications. And lastly, as publisher, presiding over publication of several journals, research journals. It is on these three bases that I've gathered this information together to prepare this topic, addressing predatory practices and publishing in Nigeria. The outline of my presentation as follows. At first, I give introduction to the topic. Then I discuss about the statement of problem, which leads to the aims and objective of this presentation. Then how do we identify predatory journal? What is international journal exactly? What are the problems leading to predatory practices in Nigeria? Who are the stakeholders affected by these predatory publishing and practices? How do you address the predatory practices? And I give some advice on how to start a good journal, how to identify a good journal, and finally, I give concluding remarks. As a researcher, when you do research, the next thing is to look for where to disseminate that research. This can be done at conference or via journal publication. Now, as for journal publication, there are two types of journal publication: a subscription-based journal and the open access journal. For subscription-based journal, authors do not pay what we call a article publication charge, APC. Rather, the subscribers of that journal pay the fees. The subscribers and the readers sometimes pay the fees, while authors do not pay any charges. I've published some articles, or a lot of my publication has been published under this model, which is subscription-based journal. The second part is the open access journal. In open access journal, we have about three types of it. The first one is hybrid open access journal. In hybrid open access journal, the author could decide to pay the publication fee so that the article can be made freely available to readers. The author may also opt for a subscription whereby the readers or the subscribers pay for the production cost. So that is hybrid open access. It's both open and closed. Then we have the direct or gold open access. In gold open access, the author pay the entire publication fee or article processing charges, so that at the end of the day, once the publication is completed, The article will be freely available online for readers to download, to reuse, and to distribute. This is good open access. And the other one is the green root open access. In green root open access is something similar to direct open access, but in green root open access, the author can make this publication or a copy of the publication available on the institution repository. It may not necessarily be the originally published manuscript on the publisher site. It could be the accepted version of the published manuscript. So the author can make this available on his own portal or his own institution web address, and that is green root. However, this very this very direct good open access has now created some loopholes that some group of people which call themselves as company, some organization, research institute, even universities are now exploring or exploiting. This group of individuals have no transparency and trustworthy in peer review process. They do not follow the principles of publishing standards. These publishers do not respect scholarly publishing ethical principles, and they abuse the good open access model with unethical and dishonest practices just for business purposes. They pretend as legitimate journals, but they really what they are really doing is cheating the authors into submitting papers for the sole purpose of extracting publication fees from them. They have constituted what we refer to as virus in the academic world. Sometimes they are being referred to as spammers. It was Jeffrey Bale in 2012 who uncovered this set of people and referred to it as a predatory journal. That was from his paper in 2012. Now, if you look at the chart below here, you will see that this data was extracted from Ephraim and Paul Shoisin, which was published in Public Research Quartile in 2017. You will see from here that from they take some samples of journal published in predatory journals, and then they extracted the authors and their location from the publication. It was found that about 16,720 authors from this sample publication are from India, while 1,449 authors are from Iran, and about 1,219 authors are from Nigeria. Again, I also studied the work of Demir, which titled the Predatory Journals, Who Publishes Them and Why, which was published in a Journal of Informatics in 2018. From the sample journal they considered, which were taken from the BED website, it was found that 2,592 authors are from India, 1,216 are from Nigeria, and then 932 from Turkey. Again, in the recent study of Dora and Kampa, which was published in a Serious Review in this year, 2023, they take some sample publication, sample journals, predatory journals with focus on library and information science. It was found that 1,760 authors are from India, 64 authors are from Nigeria, 10 from Bangladesh. And in addition to this, even Bell himself made mention of Nigeria in his original paper. And he said that they set up websites that closely resembled those of legitimate online publishers and publish journals of questionable and downright low quality. Many purport to be headquartered in the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, or Australia, but really hail from Pakistan, India, or Nigeria. So from this statement and what we have seen from the statistic of how people patronize these predatory journals in the world, it is so worrisome that the headquarters of these patronizers of predatory journals is in Nigeria, majorly Nigeria and India. It is more worrisome that by the time we look at the mode of operation of many organizations and the universities publishers, you discover that these people are actually practicing predatory. Some may not know that that is what they are practicing. Some do know, but they don't care. It is this problem that now leads to the aim of this presentation, to enlighten the academics in Nigeria on predatory practices, and the objectives are as follows: identifying predatory publishing, identify problems leading to predatory practices, exploring the implication of predatory publishing to stakeholders, and how do we combat predatory publishing in Nigeria. How do we identify predatory journals? Number one, these journals claims to be a peer-reviewed open access publication, but does not provide peer review or the level of peer review promise. They advertise journal impact factor or other citation metric on the website that is incorrect and cannot be verified. The only accepted or authentic journal impact factor is the one by Thomson Reuters. Any other one are just fake. So one of the attributes of this predatory journal is to advertise fake impact factor on their website, and the aim is to dupe unsuspecting academics. They may advertise an unrealistic timeline for publication. I must be honest with you that publication takes a very long time. And in the case of predatory journals, they may promise even 10 days, sometimes 20 days for publication. This is unrealistic for any journal that is peer review, because before you send the invitation to reviewer, before reviewer accept to do the work, no reviewer will review any manuscript in one week. Minimum 3 to 6 weeks will be required for any reviewer to review a manuscript. So by the time you have 3 to 6 weeks, with the time to even for editor-in-chief to initially study the manuscript to see whether it fits into the journal or not, the time for peer review, the time of communicating the result to the author, and the time of the author will take to revise the manuscript according to the reviewer's suggestion, you will realize that this cannot take anything less than 1 month. In fact, in most cases, 3 months. But in the case of predatory journals, they advertise even days, that your manuscript will take 5 days for publication. These are one of the attributes. Another one is they publishes all articles from which authors pay an APC, even if the article is low quality, unrelated to the topic of the journal, or nonsensical. For as long as the author paid the APC, they don't care. They go on with the publication. Also, they publishes articles that have many grammatical mistakes. There is nothing like copy editing or language edition. We all know that English is not first language for many authors. As a result, before publication, what we call language editing or copy editing is necessary. But these journals that are predatory journals take no time to do this at all. They only proceed to publication once article is accepted. The editorial board includes people who do not exist, do not have credentials relevant to the topic of the journal, have affiliations that cannot be verified, or real people who are not aware that they are listed as members of the board. This is common to most predatory journals. And in some of these journals, if you decide to communicate anybody on the editorial board to make some inquiry, they get totally confused because they don't even know that their name exists on such journal website. So those are the attributes. And again, they mimic name of websites or other well-known legitimate journals. For instance, let's say we have a journal of theoretical and applied physics, which is legitimate. The predatory may create a similar name. They may say Journal of Theoretical, Experimental, and Applied Physics. This is just to confuse majorly earlier career researcher and other unsuspecting individuals to believe that their journal is related to the other one that is theoretical, whereas they share no affiliation. They aggressively target potential authors through emails. They keep sending mails advertising the journal that you should publish. Sometimes they may even promise a discount in publication fee if you submit by so time. These are one of the attributes of a predatory journal. They may state that their offices are in one country, but the contact details are in other. As a result, communicating with them or contacting them will be very difficult to authors. They lack transparency about acceptance process and the article publication charges, so that the author do not know how much they will be charged until their paper is accepted for publication. They may state on their website that the APC is free, but once the paper is accepted, they may say you have to do some language editing. They may say you have to do some certain thing that they did not mention before submission, and then they will request you to pay some money in dollars. They will not allow you to do this from any other company other than from the one they have listed for you. These are attributes of a predatory journals. The contact email address is non-professional and non-journal related. Mostly they use Gmail or Yahoo Mail. They cannot use their own journal because it will go to spam. Of course, they are already spammers. They has been in existence for up to 5 years, but they are not indexed in any reputable database. We should include the DOAJ, which is Directory of Open Access Journal, Medline, Scopus, PsycInfo, Web of Science, or any other legitimate abstracting and indexing services or database. I have set up 5 years as the limit here, because for Scopus or Web of Science, it may take up to 2 to 3 years before any journal can be indexed. And I think DOAJ also takes about 1 year or thereabout. They use misleading words such as international, global, or what journal. This is just to confuse unsuspecting authors that the journal is international journal. That a journal carries international preface or a preface of a global or what journal does not make that journal to be an international journal. I will discuss later about what exactly is an international journal. So here I've given some examples of some of these predatory journals. These are non-Nigerian journals anyway. Here you see this one. They are promising 25 days for publication. This is unrealistic. And you see that here they state that authors can get review results, that whether the paper can be published or not within 15 days. This is not also realistic. It's not possible. So this is some of the attributes of the predatory. And another one here, this one, they are requesting that you can send your manuscript through Gmail, because they cannot use their own journal email address. Of course, definitely this mail will have gone to my spam folder. So they are requesting for manuscript instead via email, instead of asking the author to submit via the portal. And you can even see from here, they are saying that if you are not interested in this, please just delete and sorry for the disturbance. that is very funny. Here I have another interesting example. I call it interesting example in the sense that it's fitting into predatory practice in all ramifications. This mail was sent to me in October 2021 by a predatory journal requesting that I should submit my paper for publication in their journal. It's an International Journal of Engineering, Research and Science. International Journal of Engineering, Research and Science. As of then, they paraded the impact factor of a 2.91 That was as of October 2017. So this time around, I decided to go to the website to see if there are new updates on the website, and I can see that now, this is 2023, the impact factor has increased from 2.916 to 6.53, and you can see even the glowing something here on the website. However, this is fake. This is not original impact factor by Thomson Reuters. So when I click on the impact factor to get the source of the impact factor, I realized that the impact factor originated from what they call root indexing. If you go to the authentic impact factor by Thomson Reuters, if you go to this website and search for the ISSN of that journal, you see that it returns no results. So it's actually indexed in root indexing. And the indexing of root indexing is very simple. You pay and then they calculate impact factor for you. That's all. No any other thing other than that. So this is also a predatory impact factor service. And now if you go to Scopus, if you search this title, International Journal of Research and Science, you will see that there is a similar title to it, which is International Journal of Engineering Research and Technology. But they name their own journal as International Journal of Engineering Research and Science. So the only difference is just technology and science. And this is a very good example of what I've just mentioned before. They may make a name similar to a good journal just to confuse unsuspecting author with the sole aim of getting their article publication charges. Now, what is then an international journal? If we say that the journal carries international as preface, does not make it an international, or if a journal is published outside Nigeria, because I remember During my master's degree, I asked one of my colleague, a senior colleague, about journal publication. And the explanation he gave to me then was that an international journal is any journal that is published outside Nigeria. I think I carried this definition on my head for so many years until I started my PhD at in Mexico City. It was then I got to know a different view of what an international journal could be. If an international journal is not just any journal that is published outside Nigeria, then what is an international journal? For a journal to be called an international journal, it must meet up with these three criteria. One, diversity in geographical distribution of authors. The authors must not be from one single location. They must be from different regions in the world, from Asia, from Europe, from America, and the rest. They must not be from just one nation. And secondly, is the diversity in geographical distribution of editors. The editor must also come from different regions in the world. The editors must not come from just within one or two nations. No, must come from 3, 4, 5, 6 other countries in the world. And then lastly, the journal should be indexed in at least DOAJ or Scopus or Web of Science or any other reputable journal indexing service. So a journal must meet up with these three criteria before you can say it's an international journal. But in our system in Nigeria, we have been so confused with what an international journal should look like. And that is one of the things the predatory journals are now using to extort Nigerian authors. So if a journal does not fulfill these three criteria, it's nothing but a local journal. And I went further to look at the number of predatory journals that actually have international as preface in BERS database. So I downloaded it. The data is updated as of 2021. Out of 1,514 journals, I found that 801 journals in the list of the predatory journals have international as their preface. And this constitutes about 52.9% of the journal. And I must comment here before I go further that most of these predatory journals, most of them are not even in the database. But by the time you look at many ways, look at the ways some of these association, university, or other companies journal in Nigeria operate, and then relate the attribute of a predatory journal to them, you see that we have so many predatory journals in Nigeria. But however, they are not listed in this database anyway. So again, I went further to check Scopus. I downloaded the journals that have been indexed in Scopus as of November 8, 2023. We have about 44,050 journals indexed in Scopus. So I searched for the ones that have preface of international. I discovered that we have about 2,826 with international preface. So this constitutes 6.4%. So what is this statistic telling us? It's telling us that it is more likely that a journal with international as a preface to be a predatory than is likely to be a good journal. Because 52.9%, that is more than half of journals with international as preface are predatory. Why only 6.4% of journals that are indexed in Scopus are actually good journals. So in essence, I would advise that when you see a journal with international in the preface, you should check very well to ensure that it is not actually practicing predatory. Not all journal with preface of international are predatory actually, like I've explained here, but you should look carefully. Look at all the attributes of predatories, if anyone is being practiced by that journal, before you submit your work for publication in that journal. And the source of this data, I've put the link here, the Bell list and the Scopus by Elsevier. Then what are the problems leading to predatory practices in Nigeria? The first one is lack of awareness. Many publishers in Nigeria, which includes organization, academic organization, universities, and companies, are not even aware of what we call predatory practices. Because we've seen situations whereby people send even request submission of manuscript, accept manuscript via WhatsApp. They will ask you that if you have any manuscript, please send it to us. We are going to press. I believe these people do not actually know that what they are doing is predatory. So lack of awareness is one of the problems leading to these practices in Nigeria. Then pressure to publish or perish. This is one of the greatest factors of all. Many researchers are under pressure to publish or perish, and hence, whatever is available becomes desirable. And this pressure has led many people to be patronizer of predatory journals, because it is much easier to get anything you write published in predatory than any good journal. Another point in desperation at the thought of missing out on promotion. It is sad to know that many academics in Nigeria publish only for promotion, not for recognition or for fame. As a result, when the promotion is around the corner, they look for any available journal that can take manuscript and publish within few days from them. So desperation about the promotion is one of the factors, which is also related to the career advancement. Another problem is long wait of reviews from reputable journals. It is I must confess to you that peer review takes very long time in good journals. Before a reviewer can complete a review, may take up to 1 month sometimes, and sometimes can extend up to 2 years in some cases. But not many people have the luxury of time to wait, because you see another predatory journal advertising for publication within 1 month or within some few weeks. So it is very easy for you to just go and patronize predatory than to wait for the reputable ones. And why it is also difficult to wait is still part of the problem caused by desperation of the thought of missing out a promotion. Then the lack of funding. For many good open access journal, the APC is quite expensive. Of course, to maintain a journal is not cheap. You, as a publisher, you join Crossref membership, which you pay in dollars. You get Turnitin to run the scan, which you also pay in dollars. You pay for copy editing tools, which is also in dollars, and so many other things. The server is in dollars, the hosting and the rest, you have to pay in dollars. So it's very expensive to operate a journal. And hence, since the main source of funding comes from authors, These charges will have to be leveled against author as form of APC. For good journals, the APC is not cheap, like as I've mentioned. You may end up paying as high as $1,500 as article publication charge. Whereas if you go to predatory journal, you can even see a journal of $50, even $30 as a article publication charge, because all they do is just to collect that money and then publish the work on the web. No editing, no any copy editing, no language editing, nothing. So if the author do not have adequate funding, it will be very difficult to patronize any good open access journal. Then the deceptive marketing engaged by the predatory journals is also one of the problems leading to the practices. Inadequate knowledge about journals in specific subject areas or discipline. Many researchers are not aware of where they can publish their work. As a result, when they receive deceptive marketing from any predatory journal, they easily fall a prey. Then pressure to publish in international journals. The misconception that international journal is any journal published outside Nigeria has led many people to patronize predatory journals. Who are the stakeholders affected with this predatory publishing in Nigeria? The first is the researcher himself. The credibility of the researcher will be affected. As a researcher who has patronized predatory journal, you may find it difficult to get any postdoctoral grant or position outside the shore of Nigeria. You may not be able to get any academic position with standard outside Nigeria. The university or institution is also affected because the researchers are not working for themselves alone, they are working for the institution. If the researcher publish in good journal, the institution will benefit from that during institutional ranking. However, if the researcher publish in a bad journal, it will also affect the name of the institution. Funders. In the case of Nigeria, we only have one major funder, which is TED Fund. It will be very terrible to see a paper or a research supported by TED Fund to be published in a predatory journal. It will affect them as a sponsor of a predatory practice. The nation itself is also affected. As you can see from the data I displayed in my statement of problem, many people have this notion that Nigeria, India, Iran are the home base of a predatory practices in the world. So even when people with good intention are not doing reasonable something, this will still have negative impact on them. So how do we address these predatory services practices in Nigeria? Many people or group of people have roles to play in this. The researchers themselves, the university stakeholders, the NUC, the TED Fund, and the libraries. As a researcher, before you submit your manuscript to any journal, you first of all use think, check, and submit, which I've provided the link here. Think, check, and submit. It will assist and educate you in identifying well-established journals and publishers in order to promote reliable research and publication. You should also visit Directory of Open Access Journal, DOAJ, Scopus, Web of Science, which maintain directory of high-quality journals. Any journal that is indexed in this database is likely to be a very good journal. Earlier career researchers should not just select journal on their own. They should consult the senior colleagues to suggest to them a very good journal to publish their work. The university is not left behind in this role as well. There should be a periodical seminars or conferences about bad practicing, about bad publishing practices and writing guidelines regularly. There should be some incentive and reward for publishing in good journals. Currently, it appears that the only reward is promotion, but this is not enough. There should be some incentive in form of cash or recognition by the university for authors who excel in publishing good research in good journals. Promotion of academics should be based on quality of research papers and not on quantity. There's nothing says that an academics with 5 papers in credible journals with high impact factor should not be considered for promotion to professor. But by the time we say we want quantity, we need 18 papers or 20 papers before an academic can be qualified to a professorial cadre, then we have left them with option of patronizing predatory. But if everybody knows that with good journals, with high impact factor, you only need very few to be promoted, definitely the number of people that patronize predatory journals will be reduced. Then subscription to legitimate resources like Scopus by Sevilla, so that the researchers can have access to a vast number of research publication worldwide. Then the university could be a member, register as a member of a Crossref, DOAJ, and the Committee on Publication Ethics. This will also assist in ensuring that any journal emanating from the university is a good one. The role of NUC. We will have seen during accreditation how the head of department of various university struggles to put good offices, facilities, and the rest in place because of accreditation. I think the same emphasis should also be placed on quality of research publication emanating from that department that is undergoing accreditation. We should not limit it to physical facilities alone. We should also place emphasis on the research publication, because in the end, a university will not be ranked by number of offices or number of toilets or number of laboratory that department has, but it will be graded based on research publication, the quality of research publication emanating from that department and from that institution. So I think we should place more emphasis on research publication the same way we talk about physical facilities. NUC should also create a list of recommended journals for Nigerian academics. This will guide them to ensure that they don't patronize predatory journals. They should also establish and maintain a national index of reputable journals that meet specific standards. Some of these standards should be related to the standards set by some international database such as Scopus, DOAJ, and the rest. This minimum specification should be met by any scientific journal practicing in Nigeria. Role of TED Fund. TED Fund should give financial support to publishers with journals indexed in reputable database. I think TED Fund is already doing this. Actually, they are giving the support already. And then second is that they should support individuals with financial constraint in publishing in a reputable open access journal. I am aware that some institutions in Nigeria do this already, especially the private institution. I'm aware of some that do that. If your manuscript is accepted in any good open access journal, they pay the entire publication fee. So I think the TED Fund should also look at a way they can come in to the rescue of a Nigerian researcher in this way. Because sometimes what led people to patronize predatories is because of the high cost of publishing in good journals. So if TED Fund can support this, I believe it will go a long way to help. Now, role of libraries. Libraries should constantly scrutinize what and where the academic staff are publishing. They should provide periodically updated accredited lists of reputable journals, both local and international, and across all disciplines. They should develop ethical standards for academic publishing and conferences in Nigeria. The news academic staff should be trained and should be educated about predatory journals. They should regularly generate and distribute predatory journals and conferences. This to ensure that people are up to date on the list of the predatory journals. Then here I give an hint on how to start up a good journal. I've summarized everything as one. Avoid all characteristics of predatory journal. If you are starting up a new journal and you are able to avoid all the characteristics of predatory journal, then I can assure you that you are doing something good. And how to identify a good journal. In identifying a good journal, look out for the characteristics of a predatory journal. If that journal does not have any characteristic of a predatory journal, then I can assure you that it is a good journal. For credible journals, you undergo peer review, revisions, and don't be surprised that your manuscript can still be rejected. But for predatory, they only adore you. They send message to you, they call you names that you have not title you have not achieved. They call you doctors, professors, just to make your head to swell and think that you have actually achieved something. All had been done just to extort the article publication charge from you. So please avoid those kind of journal. Then there is another type we call a vanity press. Vanity press is sometimes some way related or to the predatory journals. However, in vanity press, authors pays with their publication rights or sometimes with money, but it's not very common with money. It's usually with publication rights. Vanity press often don't edit. Instead, authors are responsible for handling, formatting, and spelling checking on their own. The author works as the editor, works as the reviewer of the manuscript, which is not ethical. After then, their writings are made available through self-publishing websites like Amazon, where hardcover editions of their novels are sold for absolutely exorbitant prices. Naturally, the authors do not receive any money from the sales. So you should look out for this type of press and avoid them. The list is not long yet. We have the Apple Academic Press, Cognella Press, Editorial Académica Español, Edwin Merlin Press, Eliva Press, EU Researcher, Harding House Publishing, IGI Global, Lambert Academic Publishing, Nova Science Publisher, Omnispectrum Publishing Group, Research Outreach, Scholars Press, VDM Verlag, and Vesta Creative Services. In conclusion, for as long as there is a demand for predatory journal, the market will continue to thrive. To permanently tackle predatory practices in Nigeria, researchers, universities, libraries, NUC, and TED Fund all have roles to play, and I've identified these roles in my presentation. While hoping that these authorities will play their roles in addressing predatory practices in Nigeria, myself, in collaboration with some researchers across the nation, from the north, south, west, east, are currently teaming up to form a network, a research network, to see how we can help in changing the narrative in the world of science. The journey started around 2017 with just physics, and later metamorphosed into creating umbrella for physical sciences in 2018. As of last year, 2022, we have decided to extend this scope to all areas of science, and in some years to come, we extend it to all disciplines. If we are saying that people should not patronize predatory journals, we should first of all make several avenues for Nigerian researchers to communicate their research to the world in such a way that they will be equal to their counterparts elsewhere in the world. And this is the idea behind this research network. And the next phase of this project will be to help several institutions, organizations to fund or maintain quality journals. We are providing hosting service, support within our research network, and while ensuring that the journals meet up with world standards in terms of quality and every other factor. With several quality research platforms in place, market of predatory will be dropped and die natural death. If there are no good journals, it is very difficult to actually curb predatory practices in Nigeria. And last phase will be to work with university research centers, libraries to set up basic minimum and monitor scientific journal operations in Nigeria. The basic minimum will eventually be called the N value, which should be a Nigerian version of Thomson Reuters impact factor. But unlike Thomson Reuters impact factor, the N value would be for only publishers and journals within Nigeria. And I must commend that the basic minimum to be met up by this publisher or journal will be something similar to those of Web of Science and the Scopus. This is to ensure that we don't localize everything. Even though we have our own end values, we should still, at the end of the day, so that we'll be able to still compete with other journals in Scopus and Web of Science. These are the references, the articles that I've consulted, and the seminars. Thank you. So if you have any question, you are free to send it to me via mail, babatunde.falaye@gmail.com or babatunde.falaye@science.fulafia.edu.ng. Don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you.